Yo, what's up YouTube? This your boy Anthony here, back with another video. And today I'm going to share with you guys how to build your credit score to get this type of dream car that you want, or any kind of car that you want. It might not want to be a Camaro, it might want to be a Hellcat, but this is the path that pretty much everybody must go through to build a credit score to get their dream car. And I will share that with you guys. I pretty much decided to make this video because a lot of people have been asking me this question on Instagram, and a lot of people have been watching my video that did pretty well. Well, I think that did pretty well for me, which was the monthly payments on the Camaro. So I decided to share with you guys how to build your credit score to get your dream car. So stay tuned, keep watching, and hope you enjoy this video. Get your dream car. Honestly, credit score is really a huge factor because your credit score determines a lot of your payment history and how long you have debt and how fast you have the debt and you quickly pay it off. So credit score is one of the main factors, and if you don't know what your credit score is, a lot of people don't even know what the credit score is, which is shockingly. But there's like a few different ways to figure out your credit score, and one of the ways is you can use Credit Karma. If you don't know what Credit Karma is, you can download the app in your Google Play Store or your Apple Store, and you can find Credit Karma, give your information. Seems kind of iffy because you do have to enter, I think, your social security number and so forth, but they just using that to pull your information down. But also, if you don't want to go that route, actually there's 3 companies that can give you that information for free every year, and that's Equifax, that is TransUnion, and you have Experian. Those are the 3 people pretty much have all your history of your credit score. So I will recommend you go through them. You go to the website. If you haven't did it, you can do it now. I'll put the link in the description, and I will also probably see the link popping across this video as well, whatever option I decide to run with. So first and foremost, check to see what your credit score is and pull that information from the website, which I would say go to first, because when you pull that information, you can actually see what's on your credit as of now, at this present moment. So that's pretty cool about that, because you get to see if anybody else using your name. Is there stuff that's on your credit or on your name that wasn't there before, you're not even aware of, then you can dispute that a lot of issues, because this is pretty much what the auto lenders will look at when they pulling up your information. So with that being said, let's say after you got your information, you got your credit score, you're curious on what it you're curious on, okay, can I get credit, or can I get my dream car with this particular credit score of 500? I'm just putting that out there, 500. For a Camaro, I would say yes, but it won't be the one that you want, like the V8 Camaro. I would say you probably get like a V6 or a 4-cylinder, but I wouldn't recommend you jumping out there that fast, because for me personally, how I built up my credit, well, let's give you my car history. The first car that I had was a 87 Cutlass Sierra, and you probably think like, oh, he had the box Cutlass. No, it was like a small one that looked like a Cadillac Catera or something like that, or a small Park Avenue back in that day. So it wasn't like fancy, and I bought that from my uncle for $500. And at that time, I really didn't care. I was in high school at the time, so at that time I didn't really care. I just wanted someone to get point A to point B and quit being reliable on my parents to take me everywhere I wanted to go. And that car it was gray. I called it the gray hoop because it was busted, man, when I got it from my uncle. Like, he should have just gave it to me and taken $500. But I respect that, because it set a principle with me that, you know, you can't get everything you want. So, and the inside was like the line that fell out or whatever. You can write your name. I used to have like my classmates write their name in the ceiling, whoever get in the car. I mean, the door panels was falling off. It had like the cloth seats with cigarette holes and all that. But as I sit back and think about it today, that's one of the best cars I ever had because it ran great on gas. You know, everybody want to go electric, everybody want to save gas. So that car was actually a winner in that aspect. So after I got that, which is the gray hoop, because it was like a little hootie with that Cutlass, then I moved up and it wasn't reliable. This when I was going to college. So when I started going to college, I needed a highway reliable car because the car was really used. My first car was used to just go around the city and go to basketball camps and so forth and go to my peer's house, but it wasn't nothing like to get on the highway with. So then my second car was a Buick Century, 2001 Buick Century, and I used to take that to college and go back and forth to home to visit my parents, and that was a great car, highly reliable. But then I was talking to my mom Dukes, and I was like, you know what, I need to start building credit because it's a lot of stuff I need. I didn't know how heavy credit was, but I started listening to like Dave Ramsey. I started listening to other financial advisors, and they kept bringing up credit score, and I didn't really know what that was because I was pretty much big on having cash at hand. If you don't have cash, then you can't do nothing without it. But now it's like a different ball game. So then I went up and I got the 2011 Impala. No, I had the 2001 Buick Century. Then when I started building credit, I went to the dealership, Randy Wise dealership. Shout out to Randy Wise because there was a few other ones that didn't want to trust me, because this is what I was telling you about, that a lot of dealers and auto lenders will not trust you if you don't have credit. Some will, but some majority won't. So I went to Randy Wise, the big Chevrolet dealership up here in Michigan, and I decided to get a 2011 Chevy Impala. Now keep in mind, at that time with no credit, I could have got a Dodge Challenger, I could have got a Camaro, but it wouldn't be what I wanted. And just for me to just jump out there and say, hey, I got a Camaro, just because I wanted to say I got a Camaro, but I would have regretted myself, you know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't something I wanted. I got the car, but it's not the build that I want, anything. So I settled with an Impala, and my interest rate on the Impala, this is what they rape you without any credit score. My interest rate was 18%. 18%, man, on a 2011 Impala, and that was like crazy. So my car payments was about like, I think like $350, but the interest rate was like ridiculous. Like I was paying more in interest than what the car was worth. So my game plan was, okay, I'm gonna pay that off real fast, which it took me about, I think, 2 or 3 years, and I was working at a small IT help desk job at the time, so I had just enough to pay the car note, but then I was like living, like eating ramen noodles and like McDonald's dollar menu. But at the same time, my main focus and game plan was to build credit. That was it, to establish that credit history, because once you establish that credit history, and 1 year to 2 years is pretty much enough for any auto lender to give you that dream car that you want, especially if you're paying it on time, because the major point is paying your car on time and keeping that good credit score without having no late fees. So what do auto lenders look for when you get in the car? So that's what we're going to get into to address that question. So there's a few things what auto lenders really do look for. Credit score is one of them, but another thing they look for is like your employment status. Okay, your employment status and how much income you make a month. Because you can walk up to any dealership and say you want to get a car, but if your employment income and your status doesn't meet the down payment that you want to get, or I mean the monthly payment for the car, they're most likely not going to settle and give you the car unless you pay in cash. And a lot of people don't have a lot of money to pay for cars in cash, especially first starting out. So like, make sure auto lenders do not like a shaky employment history, like where you worked at one job for 3 months and you left, and then you went to another one for 1 month and then you left that, because you're not showing a steady employment status, and your income is fluctuated. You never had like a steady flow of income that they can go by. So when I had my when I purchased my third car was with the Impala, that I had about, I think, $2,000 $2,000 a month. I was $2,000 a month I think I was making at the time. It's been a while, but yeah, it was just enough to get the car and fill up gas. But then I was like struggling to make like the insurance payments, because again, when you get a car, most likely, especially when you finance it, they want you to have full coverage insurance, because the car is pretty much owned by the bank. You just paying the loans off until you pay it off, pay the car off in full at that last payment, and then you can drop it down to PLPD, or you can drop it to like the basic coverage insurance. But I wouldn't recommend that, because you get into an accident, then you screw. You just lost your small investment to get you around. So with that, when you get your credit score and you know what your credit score is, okay, that's good. When you go in there and they ask you, okay, what type of employment status, make sure your employment status is good. Make sure you've been at the job for like a year or so, or, you know, I would say a little bit longer, but, you know, just stay there long enough so you can get the car in between the meantime. Because most likely they're going to ask you for a check stub, and your check stub will verify everything. And most likely when you fill out a car application, I never had this, but they will ask you for like the name of your employer, because most likely they will contact them. I never had an issue contacting them. A few people, they said they reached out to them, but that's kind of weird though. So as long as you had a recent check stubs, because they go back to I think 60 days, and that give you a proof, and them a proof of how much money you make, and can you afford the type of vehicle that you want to buy. Because auto lenders don't care if you can afford the car or not. They're going to sign you up for the longest term, and you will mess up yourself for life, especially if you don't have no debt. So I would say that's something that you can do, something to be aware of. So watch out, get your employment status, make sure your credit score is okay after you done built you some credit for your first car, because that's what I did. And then after that, after you provide your check stubs, and make sure they're gonna check your debt to income ratio. So you possibly asking me, Anthony, like, what is debt to income ratio? And that's pretty much, you probably hear this terminology or acronym DTI. So debt to income ratio is pretty much how much debt you have with your income. So based on your income you make, how much debt you have. And most likely, if you have, let's say you have $2,000 a month coming in, but your debt is like $1,500, they're pretty much gonna look at that and say like, well, you can't afford the car because you have $1,500 in debt that you're paying out, let's say a month, but you only have $500 to work with. And they're gonna take that into consideration based on like, okay, do you stay with your parents? Do you have your own place to stay? And things of that nature, if you can afford the car. But if you like scraping ends meet and they looking at that, they most likely not gonna give you the car. So that leads me on to like number 4 is, okay, the down payment. And this is a huge factor too that may sway them. So all of those things I mentioned before, having your credit score, having your debt to income ratio, and then having your employment status, that's all flexible and can be worked with. But this is the main factor is down payment. How much down payment you're gonna have on the car, and the car at that point, because between that buffer space, that's knocking down the whole number that they're selling you. So let's say, for example, the car was like $30,000, but you had 10 grand. Now you financing the car for $20,000 and so forth. So they can give you a little bit of wiggle room, and that can also, you know, determine your monthly payments and how long you want your loan out for. So you got a $20,000 loan, and you know your income yourself. Could you do a 72-month loan, which is 5 to 6 years, or you can do like a 48-month loan, because they got all these different options. And what's crazy now is there's people actually financing these cars for 84 months, and that's like, I think like 6 to 7 years. I'm just doing this off my mind right now as I'm driving, but that's pretty crazy, man, to have a car note that long, and I wouldn't recommend nobody doing that at all. So let's wrap this up, because I don't want to just ramble on about this. So ways to build your credit score. First and foremost, get your credit score, figure out what your credit score is. And then second, make sure you got a good employment history, make sure that's up to par. And then 3, make sure that your debt to income ratio, a lot of this stuff you can figure out on your own before going to the auto lender. So this is why we talking about doing your homework. And then see if you can come up with a down payment. If you can come up with a down payment, that'll work for you in your best interest versus going with no money down, because they're going to be skeptical about if they should loan you the car. So these are my little tips. These are the things in the story that I decided to share with you guys today on how to build your credit to get you ready to get your dream car. And if you have any questions, or if there's something that I didn't cover and you have questions about, feel free to drop a comment in the video. Let me know. I most likely will respond same day, if not the next day. Stay tuned for more videos. Hope you find this useful, and feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel.